Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and today we're going to go through the sci-fi edition of the You Want Me to Go Where book tag. A couple of months ago, I made an original book tag where I had you guys create your own fantasy worlds based on books that you've read. Which worlds would you not want to live in? Which worlds would you want to live in? Which magic systems would you want? And I just thought it was a lot of fun. So I thought I would do a sci-fi edition, and in October I will be coming out with a horror edition because I just think that it's fun to think about which worlds could I live in, which ones would I die in, and to create your own world at the end as well. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through another original book tag, but this time it is for sci-fi. So we are going to be creating our own universe instead of creating our own fantasy world. If you haven't seen that original video, I will link it in the cards as well as in the description below, so make sure to check that out if you are interested in fantasy. The first question for this tag is, what universe do you think you would die the quickest? And there are a lot of universes that I do not think I would last long, but for me, I chose the Last Cuentista for this prompt, and for two different reasons. So if you haven't heard of this book, the Last Cuentista is about a young girl. I think she's 11 in the storyline, maybe 13, and her family are very quickly at the very beginning of the book shuttled off of the Earth's surface because Earth is going to die. I think there's a comet that's going to crash into the Earth's surface within 24 hours and going to kill everybody on the Earth, and they have already been exporting people off of the Earth's surface if they are very wealthy, or if they are like useful to society, if they're deemed useful to society. And so the first reason I think I would die, I would just get left on Earth. I don't have any, I'm not wealthy, I don't have I'm not a scientist, a biologist, or anything that I think people would find I absolutely am necessary for the, continuation of the human race, and so I think I would just get left behind. But if I did by chance, let's say I just happened to be in the main character's perspective, as I said, she's 11 years old, and what essentially happens is they are put in cryostasis because they are being shuttled to a world that is habitable, and it's very, very long time away, and so they are put in cryostasis to make their journey. But in the midst of all of this, the shuttle ends up being taken over, and when she wakes up in the shuttle earlier than she should have, and no one on the shuttle is the same. She doesn't know where her family are. She doesn't know if the people on the shuttle are safe or if they're the enemy, and she has to navigate all of that as a child. And I, as a child, would not have handled that well. I would have freaked out. I probably would have gotten myself killed. As soon as I woke up, I would have told somebody that I didn't have any idea, what was supposed to be going on, and they would have known immediately who I was and that I didn't belong, and it just wouldn't be good for me. So this is the book I chose for the world or the universe that I would die quickest in. Prompt number 2 is a world or universe that you think you might survive in. For me, I chose The Road to Roswell. This is set on Earth, and it is about an alien abduction. If you haven't heard of this book, you follow our main character who does not believe in aliens, who has an eccentric best friend who is getting married in Roswell and having an alien-themed wedding. And the main character, who does not believe in aliens, gets abducted by an alien along the way. And the only reason I believe that I would survive this is because the aliens in this book are nice. And yeah, that's it. This is a rom-com type book. It was very fun. It has a lot of Western references, so it mashes Western elements with sci-fi elements, which I did really enjoy. So it's a very silly book, which is why I think I might be able to survive. Prompt number 3 is the world or universe that you think would have the best vacation spots. So for this one, I chose the Paradox Hotel. This book is a murder mystery set in a hotel that essentially can time travel. And so the time traveling component is why I think that this one would have the best vacation spots, because you could literally travel anywhere in time and see any components that you want. I really enjoyed the storyline. You have a main character who works at the hotel, who is the only one who can see the dead body that exists in this room. There are a lot of time components that you get to learn throughout the book. You also have dinosaurs randomly roaming around the hotel at certain parts, which is very fun. So I think this book would have some good, but maybe dangerous vacation spots that I could go see. Prompt number 4 is a universe or world that you would send your enemy to live in. For this, I chose the Sun Eater series, specifically Howling Dark. So I haven't read all of this series. This series follows Hadrian Marlowe, and you are listening to him tell his story as he has lived throughout all of these kind of chaotic moments within a gigantic space opera. And in the second book, so one of Hadrian's pieces, one of the things that you learn about him is he really wants to learn about this particular alien race. And I can't remember their names right now, but in the second book, he does get to meet with a specific member of this alien race, and this person has a human slave, and he gets to see how this human slave has lived among these aliens in a completely different society and a violent society in a very horrible situation. And that's where I would send my enemy, because it was absolutely horrible to learn about what that human had to go through and how that particular alien treated the people around them. Prompt number 5 is a world or universe that has some type of technological component that you think you might be able to master. This one, I am kind of flipping the question on its head, and I chose the Psalm for the Wild Build for this. And the reason is, even though technology does exist in this, you get to meet Moscap, who is the robot companion in this storyline. The majority of technology doesn't exist anymore in this world. And I think that if technology was completely wiped out and the human race had to learn to survive without it, I think I would be able to manage. It would be difficult. I'm not saying that I would enjoy it by any means, but the world and the kind of camaraderie that happens in some of the villages that Sibling Dex and Moscap visit during this storyline are really wholesome and really relaxed, because I think that they kind of have to be. And so I think that that's something I might be able to get on with. Prompt number 6 is, what technology do you think you would completely mess up or would cause some type of detrimental thing to happen to your world if you were to get your hands on it? So for me, I said the technology that exists in Mickey 7, specifically if I was in Mickey 7's shoes. So if you haven't heard of this book, Mickey 7 is a human who fell on hard times and had to make the decision to become essentially a regenerated human, where he becomes the expendable unit of his spacecraft. And so what they do is they kind of download someone's mind and they clone your body. And if you end up dying, they just upload your mind into the new body and we move along our day. And these people, these regenerated humans, are used as a sacrificial component of spacecraft carriers. So they will take these people along the journeys on dangerous missions because they know that they are expendable. The reason I think that I would completely mess this up is because I would not be sacrificing myself. If I put this in I'm saying if I was in this situation where I had become a regenerated human, I would be Mickey 7, where Mickey 7 ends up not dying on one of his missions and comes back and obviously wants to live. And so that causes some issues within, and that's what you learn about in this book, is how he has to deal with the fact that he's back and a replacement also exists for him, but he doesn't want to give up the life that he has. And so, yeah, that would be me. I'd be the one messing up the system in Mickey 7. And prompt number 7 is the last prompt, and it is the one that if you participate in any of these prompts, please participate in this one. I think it's so fun. You guys are going to build your own universe. So in order to build our own universe, you are going to be the main person in your story. However, you do have to have a companion, someone else who will also be considered a main character in your story. So you need to choose a companion From a sci-fi book that you've read, from one that you've loved, who would you like to join you in your adventure? The second thing that you're going to have to pick is a subgenre / setting. Are you going to be set on Earth? Are you going to be in an alternate history on Earth? Are you going to be in the near future? Are you going to be in the far future? Are you going to be in space? Is it a space opera? Is it a military sci-fi? Tell me what type of story you're telling. You will also be choosing a technology companion. This is going to be different than your companion that you're choosing. Not that you can't choose a technology-based component for your main character, but if I'm thinking of technology companion, I'm thinking of small technology companion. So think of like an animal companion, but since it's a sci-fi world, we're trying to build in the techie side of things. We're also going to choose what technology we want. There can be lots, but choose a main genre. What is the main fascination with this world that you're creating? What's the main technology component that is new to the world around you? And then lastly, you guys will be choosing either a villain or a conflict in which is taking place in your storyline. In the universe that I created, I chose Murderbot as my main companion. I absolutely love Murderbot's outlook on the human race and the fact that it finds them very annoying, and it really just wants to sit back and watch their soap operas and not have to mess with anything, which I can completely relate to. But I also enjoy the fact that Murderbot is also always there if it's in need. So if there is some conflict that it ends up getting in the mix of, you know, it takes it with not with a grain of salt, but it knows kind of the right thing to do, which I think would be handy in a companion. I also think that Murderbot might be able to keep me alive in some of the situations that we'll be getting into. I am creating a world that is in the future. It is going to be a space opera. I do love a space opera. When I was thinking of the world or the universe that's being created, I had Hunt the Stars in mind. So Hunt the Stars is a space opera romance where you have the humans and then you have the Valovians? Whatever the race is, but there's really only one other race, and there was a war in the past. There are definitely conflicts and tensions involved. So that's kind of what I was thinking when I was building this universe in my head. However, I am going to build the conflict a little differently. While these two races do exist in this massive universe and they might have a history where they don't necessarily get along, I am going to introduce some components that aren't necessarily how that world or how that universe went along. First, we are going to have time travel because I really enjoy the time traveling component. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think traveling through time with Murderbot is also going to be fun. I think the main thing that we will be doing is going to be going back in time to try and figure out Murderbot's past. And if you've read Murderbot, you know what I'm talking about. So that's going to be kind of the main storyline, is that we're going to be going back in time to try and figure out what happened to Murderbot. Traveling with us will be our little technology companion, who is going to be similar to Pliny in the Blighted Stars, which was just a small robot that traveled with one of the main characters in that book that would help with anxiety. It would help with healing. It was an anxiety bot. So it was to help calm you in situations and just keep you on track on whatever mission that you're going on. It was a very cute companion, and I think that it would be a good thing to travel with, along with Murderbot. Finally, the conflict that will be evolving throughout this story as Murderbot and I travel back in time to try and figure out their past will be, I'm stealing this a little bit from Deadpool and Wolverine. There will be anchor points in different timelines that are the kind of the building blocks of that timeline. And I'm going to say that someone is killing off these anchor points in these timelines, and Murderbot happens to be one of the targets. And so we have to figure out what Murderbot's past is, but we also have to do this while making sure that they stay alive and we can get back to the present time. So that is my universe. That's my storyline that I would create if I had to create my own sci-fi universe. I hope you all will play along with me in the comments down below and create your own sci-fi universe. I would love to see what you guys come up with. I am going to tag 3 people, but if you are interested in this tag and you love sci-fi and you want to do this on your channels, please feel free to do that. Consider yourself tagged. The 3 people that I will be tagging are Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, because I know you're in your sci-fi era, so hopefully you can come up with some really interesting answers and an interesting universe. I also want to tag Laura Laura from the Book Hermit, because I know that you really enjoyed the Blighted Stars, so I would like to know what type of universe you would create as well. And then I also want to tag Witchy from Witchy Reads, because I know that you recently have read some Becky Chambers, and so I'd like to see your universe too. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!